Hello everyone. In this video we're going to continue working on a couple more data sets in Minitab to calculate descriptive statistics and analyze data and interpret them. So a new data set that we're going to import from the File menu, Open Worksheet, and this time it is going to be the height. And in this data set, what we're seeing is two columns of female and male, and based on the descriptions of this data, this is heights of students. Looks like 37 female students and 27 male students in inches. So what we want to do is to calculate some descriptive statistics on these two variables, female heights and male. So in their summary, descriptive statistics, again, if you're using the full version of Minitab, this is Minitab Express. And the full version, you got to go through, you got to go under Stat menu, and then Basic Statistics. You'll find a similar option. So we have two variables here. So what we're going to do here, because here we can only select one. We're going to select data are in more than one column. And then we select both of these variables by double-clicking on them. We make sure that the statistics that we want are selected. Let's go with these. And here we go. We have all these statistics for these two random variables of female and male. 37 sample size versus 27. Looks like the average height of male students are more by about 4 inches. Standard deviation is a little less from male, and minimum all the way to maximum looks like for male students they're all larger. So this is a lot of information that we can obviously interpret by looking at them. What we can do here is create a very useful plot, which is called box plot. So on the graphs, if we open box plot, the type of box plot that we're going to create here is going to be multiple y variables, because we have two different y variables here, and we don't have grouping. We'll get to grouping in a second. So multiple y variable in simple. So we have female, male, double click on them, and then we hit OK. You get the box plot of male height versus female. This is a very powerful chart, box plot, because it gives you a lot of information here. So here you see the range of heights, and each box, as we talked about it in the lecture, has all of these information that are shown here. First quartile, median, third quartile, IQR, and how long the whiskers are stretched, as far as and as well as the sample size. So this line is the median, this line is Q3, this is Q1, and these whiskers stretch to 1.5 times IQR. But the most important thing here is you can clearly see right off the bat the male heights are generally at a higher level, with this median of 69 for male and 66 for female students. So what I want to do now is to open another data sheet, and that is called Heights 2. And in this case, we're looking at the same data, as you can see here, but is configured differently. So instead of having two columns for female versus male, here we have a categorical variable which indicates whether it's a female or male, and then we have the height. So in this data set, we have the same data but configured differently. And this is a more common way of data configuration, where you have a categorical variable and a numerical variable. So if we want to do the same analysis here, what should we do? So I'll start with descriptive statistics. In this case, the variable that we want to calculate all these statistics on is the height variable, because that's the numerical one. And we have a group variable, and the group variable is the categorical variable here, which basically indicates different groups for the numerical data. So we select gender, and then make sure we select all the statistics that we want to show, and then we hit OK. We essentially get the same data here. It is the same way you can calculate or you can create the box plot. So box plot, and in this case is going to be what type here? Well, the y variable that is going to be our numerical, there's only a single one of them, that is height. So the y variable is only one, but then we have a grouping variable. So the one that we need to select here is this one, single y variable but with groups. So select that. Y variable is height, and group variable is gender. And we hit OK, we get the same box plot that we were able to get in the other configuration of this data. So this is an introduction to the group variable in Minitab. So let's take a look at another data set again. And in this case, it's going to be a similar one. I'm going to open gene expression. And this data set has these 4 columns. And this is obtained from an article in Nature Genetics that studied gene expression as a function of treatments for leukemia. One group here received high dose of the drug, while the control groups received no treatment. So we want to see whether the treatment was effective or not by comparing the high dose group versus the control groups. So there are 3 different control groups, maybe different demographics, different group of people, patients, and then we have the high dose, which they received the specific treatment that we want to analyze here. So what we want to do is we want to create a box plot that compares all these 4 variables. So you go to graph, box plot, and here we have multiple y variables, and there is no grouping here. They're all numerical. So we select multiple y variables. We select all of these by double-clicking on them. Hit OK. And here we go. We're able to see the comparison between these groups. And clearly you can see that high dose was significantly effective, that treatment, because it was able to keep the gene expression at a significantly lower level compared to the control groups. And here these stars show the outliers. So what we see here is, again, the same information: median, first quartile, third quartile, IQR range, and IQR is Q3 minus Q1, so that's this range. And the whiskers, as well as the sample size. Box plot is very powerful for comparisons of multiple random variables. So again, to remind you, this line here is the median. This is Q3, Q1, and these are outliers. So let's take a look at the same data, but in a different configuration, just like the comparison that we had for the heights data set. So now I'm going to open Gene Expression 2. And here we're looking at, again, the same data, same numbers that we had here in a different configuration. In this case, we have a grouping variable or a categorical variable that indicates whether that number is obtained through the high dose or they were in the control groups. So we're going to create same box plot. I'm sure by now you know what we're going to select here is a single y variable, which is this one, with grouping. So we select the y variable expression value, group variable treatment, and we hit OK. We get the same box plot. One thing to remember is that in the full version of Minitab, you're able to edit this graph better. You can change the colors, you can change the titles, and you can change the order of appearances here. That you probably don't have much of those capabilities in the Express version. So what we have here is on the y-axis, again, is the expression value and different group of patients and the expression value of them. That's it for this video. We're going to look at some more examples in the next video.